Hey, listeners, just want to let you know the first 5 minutes we had a visual issue with our
audio. Our mic's cut out for the first 5 minutes. But it's all right. If you're listening now, just stay listening. Like literally just power through the first 6 minutes. It's not that bad of audio. We have our reserve mic that picked it all up. But if you don't want to, if your ears can't take it or whatever, just skip to like the 6 minute mark and then the mics are back on. So it's fine.
You sure they'll be able to hear the first 6 minutes?
Yep, 100%.
All right, no problem.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Well, hey, Ronnie, if I'm saying to the Harley guy to write a book for me this better story for what I think.
Well, as Gilbert said, nice items are nice because they're nice, you know?
He had a nice demeanor.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell people what we're talking about?
Yeah, I will.
Hello, everybody.
We're back from Iceland.
And
we got back late, early this morning, I should say. Not leaving late last night.
One of our longest days in traveling.
We got back at 3 a.m.
back to
Miami time, which is 7 a.m. Iceland time.
We were up to almost 24 hours.
Yeah, because I woke up at 10 in Iceland.
I woke up around 8:30.
And I went to bed at 8 in Iceland, 8 a.m. So it'd literally be... yeah.
But thank God we're here because we had a connecting flight in Boston. We had our flight from Iceland to Boston was delayed like twice.
Right, and so we originally had a 2.5 hour layover in Boston. We're like, okay, fine. Then it went to an hour and a half layover. Then it went to an hour layover.
Right.
And we landed and we were like, oh shit, we had to run off.
We'd never make it.
Right as we ran off, literally, like we stepped off the plane and I got an email that said, your Boston flight is delayed.
Which was great by another hour and a half.
They knew that the balloons were late and they were like, we can't leave it at the balloons.
No, but we got lucky because we would have been fucked.
Well, we would have been sleeping in Boston.
Right, to have Sunday we come back after being gone for a week and then dealing with having to get a hotel at like midnight, it would have sucked. At least last night we got home at 3.
We were so tired.
Yeah, we read it. I got home, unpacked, showered up at 4, woke up at 9, took care. You're in your own place.
Right,
I got
like normal again.
Right, I got my shit. I'm acclimated, so when I start my day tomorrow early in the morning, I'm ready to go.
Right, it feels like a normal week. It's not like a slog.
It would be fucking shit.
Yeah.
To get back.
Like imagine if we just landed from Boston because we slept at a shitty hotel last night.
Miserable.
Oh
no!
That would have honestly ruined the whole Iceland trip.
It would have fucked it up because there's so me. I have my routine. I get these things I gotta do.
Yeah. No, I know.
Oh God.
But we're here. We made it.
It was
back
great,
in the studio.
Great trip.
Can you lower the air to a little hot?
I did already. Lower 73. Great trip.
Great trip.
No,
I love that country.
It was really nice. Everybody, really, the boys, all you guys had a good time. Everybody was very thankful and appreciative. It was nice.
Well, it was just a good trip. It was good family time, good adventure stuff. Like we did some cool things. We just hung out in like a different country, different city. It was fun. It was nice.
Is everybody like all the women are good looking women? All blonde, good.
Yeah,
bro, it's like I'm moving here. So
yeah, Burke and Bryce were like, let's just move here. The city's great. Everyone is so friendly. All the women are so attractive
and nice, but really nice.
Everyone is so nice and friendly. But
didn't you feel safe? Extremely.
Well, I think it literally is the safest country in the world. Let's see, safest countries in the world. It's got to be in the top 10.
Has to be.
Oh, not even in the top 10. Number 1.
How fucking?
Number 1, Iceland.
How great is that?
Number 2, New Zealand. I've been there.
Well, nobody's there, right?
There's less people in Iceland than New Zealand.
Okay.
Then Ireland, then Denmark, then Austria, Portugal, Slovenia, Czech Republic, Singapore, Japan.
Wow.
That's the top.
Well, Japan, they kill you. They cut off your arm. No, it's in China they do.
Yeah. Well, they get Yakuza. Wow. So it was literally number 1.
Okay, so.
And it feels that way.
Well, I 100% will go back.
It felt like everyone was neighbors.
Would you not go back 100%?
Definitely.
And I want to go back in the warm.
Iceland Tourism Board is not even paying us for this.
I like to go back in a warmer weather and just see the difference.
I'd like to do, because we kind of went in like an interim period. We went when it wasn't summer and it wasn't winter. So it was like there was still snow on the ground, but it wasn't enough for you to do all
the brutal though, bro.
But it'd be so cool, like to do like full on winter shit.
No, it was a great.
But then it'd be cool in summer to do, like the summer activities. You hike, like we didn't do any hiking because it was cold and wet and rainy.
It was a really enjoyable trip. It's going to get tainted in the next 10 years and be unaffordable. Right now, the food prices are ridiculous.
The country is very expensive, and tourism is like it's the biggest industry there. So you can feel like tourism has only been there for like 10 years or so. So you can feel that the whole country's kind of started to like change towards the tourists.
And you see the development already.
Yeah,
I've already seen the cranes.
And like a lot of the stores are like tourism stores, so you can see in 10 years, it's just going to be like a Disney World.
Like going to Aspen.
Yeah, well, not like that because that's like luxury. But it'll be like a tourist.
Nice stuff.
Well, it is luxury there, but it still like feels authentic. I bet. So if you want to go to Iceland, go now before it changes.
The next 2-3 years, I think you got it, and then after that, you're done.
Yeah. But so Dad's wearing a watch. We were walking through. That's what we were just talking about.
I should have stayed in the apartment, in the hotel.
We were walking through Reykjavik one day, just like the main shopping street, and we saw this little like store front that had all these cool watches.
Gotta be 80. It's gotta be probably 600 square feet.
The store was as wide as this cutting, basically. And we were just admiring the watches. We were like, oh wow, these are really cool. I've never heard of this brand, JS watches. I've never heard of this brand. And then there was like this little old man standing in the doorway watching us, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I make those." And we're like, oh, "Really? You make these?" He goes, "Yeah, this is my shop. I make them from scratch."
They're all handmade.
Long story short, we went in there. We spent like an hour with this guy, Gilbert, who has been making watches for like 50 years. He's Icelandic.
Articles written New York Times about him. Luxury.
Well, you walk into the shop. It's this little shop that he has all these like little watchmaking machines. He has a little bench in the back that he makes all his watches, and on the wall are all these pictures of him and Tom Cruise, him and Tobey Maguire, him and Quentin Tarantino, him and the King of Greece, the Dalai Lama. So all of these
Ben
people,
Stiller, everybody,
even Leonard Skinner.
No, it was Jethro Tull,
the guy who plays the flute.
Yes,
and the coolest fucking story is the old guy's probably 80.
Gilbert, I would think 70.
No, he's got to be older than that.
I mean, he's got like a 40-year-old son and a grandson. So yeah, I don't think he's 80. He's probably like 70 something. But anyways, he's an old man.
But great,
and
very
he's small.
Witty,
he's
very
like
witty. He
and
looks
small.
like a little Smurf guy,
like a gnome.
Yeah, and he has all these celebrity photos of him buying his watches. So we're hanging out.
Every one of these celebrities who's like visited Iceland, they all come to this watch store because I guess we didn't know, but he's like kind of well known in the watch world of like this little boutique handmade watch store.
Right, and the New York Times article you read was a great article.
Yeah, a lot of these, like CNN did a piece on him, New York Times did a piece on him, as his tagline and like what these articles said is that he's the world's smallest watch manufacturer because it's just him in this little shop in Reykjavik.
Little shop, right? So we go in there, and usually whenever we go on a trip, I usually like to buy something that reminds us of our trip, whatever it is, with a little piece of artwork, a little tchotchke, whatever it might be. So we're in the store, me and the boys and Nell. And we start, my boys like watches like I do, I guess because of me. And we pick out 4 watches, and literally 20 minutes later, we don't
need to say the money that you spent.
I'm not.
Okay, I thought you were going to.
Literally, like half an hour later, we are now the owner of the 4 of us.
4 of JS watches.
Right, and it's nice. We got our initials engraved in the timepiece and the date that we bought it.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice story to it. And so now I'm wearing one of them, which is called, I forget what it is.
So something Gods edition.
Yeah, which has the face is made out of the volcanic ash.
Yeah, the face has the ash from the volcanic eruption in 2011 in Iceland. The whole case, you can't really see
hand engraved.
Hand engraved, and it's all like Nordic runes and all this stuff. Like it's Viking symbols from the Icelandic Vikings.
And it's a limited production piece. And Tom Cruise has the same one.
Gilbert actually made it for Tom Cruise, this
Correct.
model. And he only made 50 of them. But it was originally the first one was for Tom Cruise, and now you have another one. Which is cool.
Tom Cruise, he showed us, has his own little stationery, and like a month later wrote him a beautiful card. It's like really nice.
Yeah.
So we end up.
Great.
So we have 4 watches. It makes for the trip. We'll always remember the trip. They're
Special
nice
story,
especially the nice pieces, and they'll become beautiful heirlooms for our children and children's children and so forth.
Yeah, it's cool. They're really cool and special. I should have worn mine today. Mine's upstairs. I didn't even think about it.
Brooks is a cool one.
Yeah, because it's retro.
Isn't it funny how Bryce, everyone has their own style? Like Bryce likes but he wanted the metal. He wanted that band.
He's wanted that watch for a watch like that for a while. So it was good. It worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Iceland was great. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Thank God we're home though. Oh God, we're so lucky. But great trip.
Yeah, great trip.
Till next one.
In 4 weeks, I leave for Japan.
Rough life.
Crazy too. Yeah.
Rough
no, it's
life.
not a rough life. I don't claim it to be.
It will be.
But I also work to pay for that trip. It's not like I'm like being given that trip.
Yeah, I'm not saying about that or not.
No, I know.
Go and have a good time.
Thank you. I will. I'm excited.
You should be.
Yeah.
That's going to be a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, this year already, I'll have been to Mexico, Iceland, and Japan. Those are literally like the three corners. Those are so opposite. They're like three corners of the globe.
Yeah.
It'll be cool.
All right. And now we're back.
Yeah. All right. So what else?
All right. Are you going to, don't hit the fucking
I
button.
wasn't going to.
What do you want to talk about, Ronnie? You said you have topics.
Yeah, no, I always do.
How great was that guy from TSA in Boston?
Oh, that's another, right. So we were,
you know, let me just say this if I can. We all talk about everyone should be on the same playing field. Should all have true equality, all be. When I say
you
equal,
keep bringing this up because of that do you want to bring up that conversation that we had in Iceland?
Yes, you can bring it
because
up.
Because what you're saying now is because of that conversation.
Correct. So go ahead, bring it up.
How did it even start? We were walking out of a pub in Iceland
with that guy
one night.
Holdor?
Yeah, well, we were just like walking out of the pub after like dinner.
Good pub, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out. I think it was called Sweet Pig in Iceland.
Great.
But it was in Icelandic, so I don't know what
Went
the
back
fuck the name
twice.
is. That's how all their words
He's
sound.
having a seizure, people.
That's how their words sound. It sounds like they're all swallowing their tongue every time they speak. So we were walking out, and I think at first he was just like trying to drunkenly joke with you.
Yeah.
Because your jacket is a peak performance jacket.
Right.
And peak in Icelandic means pussy. And so he was like, what does your jacket say? What? Because he thought it said pussy.
It was like a little large guy, a little overweight with a man bum, but a nice guy.
Yeah, like if a Viking let himself go a little bit. Right? That's the vibe he had.
And decided not to be manly.
Yeah.
Right.
So then he was like, "Oh, you guys are Americans. It's so funny. What's America?" Like, and then so we started talking about that, and I don't even know how we got on it.
Trump or something.
No, you brought it up. He brought up like
he
said, "Thank God you finally that you guys finally put that idiot in jail
or something."
And you were like, "Idiot? What idiot? Huh?" Like you got so defensive.
I just want to know why.
Idiot. Trump's the best.
No, dick one.
Idiot. America supports this whole country.
You mean nothing in that America.
So then you guys started talking. It was very amicable.
Of course, it was amicable.
You were having a conversation about just like about
how everybody should be treated. Well, we all believe people should be treated the same. That's not an issue. But he said that everybody should have the same playing field, so to speak. And I'm like, that's not reality. That's just not the way the world is. It will never exist. It's impossible.
But it's something to strive towards.
No, but so then
I think everyone should have the same playing field.
But then should the people that are born into royalty be lessened? Why should I not be born into royalty?
No, well, that's different than same playing field.
Why?
That's making all the players equal. But same playing field means everyone should have access to play on this court. Obviously, some are going to be better than others. But you shouldn't not be allowed to play on this court.
Why not? But fucking not everybody has to live together and get along perfectly.
But you make it so much more of like a utopic thing than it actually
it comes back to that everyone has to have a right for a safe space and that's a toxic environment.
But see, when I say that everyone should have a even playing field or whatever, I don't mean any of that stuff. I don't know why you. Like, I didn't say safe space.
It's impossible to have everybody on an even playing field.
Yeah, probably.
No, it is.
But that doesn't... I mean, I bet 300 years ago they said it's impossible for us to touch the moon. It's impossible. And then now people just walked on.
Isn't that socialism to some degree?
Socialism is when the government gets involved.
But that's what that's what the government's doing, and that's what that guy was talking about. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't agree with socialism. I think that you need to... It's different issues if you have...
Well, communism and socialism are different too.
I understand that, but Iceland's not communism. They're socialist. Right, so it's like it reminds me of like
and it works out well for them. Right? But the reason why it works out well for them is because there's so few of them. And not only are there so few of them, but every single one of them saved like 12, like literally the 12 immigrants that live there. Every single one of them is of the exact same ethnic and religious background. So they can more easily all get along with each other. Right? Like how all Jews get along better than Jews and Muslims, or all Muslims get along better than Muslims and Christians, right? Because they're all the same. Mm-hmm. They're all on the same team. So all Icelanders come from Icelandic backgrounds, right? So they all have the same ethnicity. They all look alike. That helps because like when people look different, teams form, right? That's what it
100%.
is. And they're all the same religion, and they're all religious. So they're all of the same level. Right, so there's no outsiders in Iceland.
I get it,
so
but
it
takes away the bill. Don't you want to strive for something better?
What does that have to do with anything I was just saying?
Socialism, I'm saying. And I'm saying but when you have socialism, I mean, it's hard to be more successful than others because it's socialistic. That's what I'm saying. There's no incentive.
Maybe it's a little harder.
There's no incentive.
No, you're thinking communism, though.
No.
Socialism is just like, let's all use a bit of our money, pool it together, and help
like Canada,
social.
right? Canada, right?
Yeah, like you don't think it's impossible to get wealthy in Canada.
There's so many wealthy people in Canada.
Right.
You're right.
And
take that back.
But they have a lot of socialized programs. Their healthcare is socialized. A lot of their government is socialized. Right, like a lot of things in America that the government provides, we have to either pay for, or it's very or you have to pay for yourself.
But we're paying. But you also more money you make here, more money you pay in taxes. So you are directly paying.
Right, but there's socialism in America.
There are. Yep.
The police is socialism. The fire department is socialism. We don't like to call it that, but that is the definition of socialism, or a socialist government project is the fire department. We all pool our money together. Everyone pays, right?
So
we put it towards a pot.
Association where you're paying for common areas.
Yeah. Like think of like in Israel, what's it called? Where they all live together on the
kibbutz.
Yeah, a kibbutz is socialist. It was created by socialists to be like, let's make a utopian version of how we can all live. Let's all pool our money together, and then we'll all live like that. That's what an association is on a smaller scale, obviously, and it doesn't rule every part of your life. It only does one. But to say America, like to say socialism is bad, then it's like you use socialist things all the time. Our roads are socialist.
Yeah, but I get it.
You pay a thing in, and you don't have a say on it. The roads are done without you. You know, it's like the government's using all our money to fix the roads, to do the things,
the common areas.
And
I get it.
You think that that's good.
I have no problem with that.
But then, right? So they just do it to other aspects too. They take that same mentality of how we do it to the fire department. Like everyone pays in, and if you're in an emergency, they will help you. No questions asked. It doesn't cost you anything. And we're all like, that's great, because if I need that, I know that I can count on that.
Yeah, but I'm looking at more socialism
with
spreading the wealth, where there's equality with everybody.
So that's not socialism.
But that's where then like a Bernie Sanders would want to go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking the true definition of what, if you look up like in Webster, what socialism. Because I'm a
Bernie Sanders is on that path. He really just what he wanted to do was obviously like to tax the ultra wealthy more, but he didn't want to make everyone equal in terms of money. His main things were exactly what I was just saying, where instead of just applying to the fire department and the police, you also apply it to healthcare and schooling. That's all. Honestly, schooling is already socialist up to 4 years. You know, like this country has 12 years of socialized education. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets it for free, no matter what, no questions asked. You can go there, you get food, all that stuff. That's full on socialist. We just happen to cut it off after 12 years. Where other countries that are fully, like, you know, the Scandinavian countries that are fully socialist, they just had 4 more years. So it's not like, oh my God, they're so crazy, we're so different. We do 12 years of socialized education.
No, I'm not.
Listen, and they also, instead of like,
I liked Iceland. No, I'm saying, no, I mean, I hear you. I'm just saying, we're talking about, I'm agreeing. Those, I don't, you're probably right in what you're saying. I don't necessarily look at those as socialistic societies.
So what do you think of as socialism?
It's just, we pay the government.
Well, they're like Sweden will fully say we are socialists.
We pay the government to do certain things for everybody to use.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and is that it works in America does it even work?
To some degree.
Yeah, like the fire department, everyone is on board with that. I don't think there's a single person that is like, privatize fire. You know,
no,
we need to pay
because it's so limited.
If the fire department is gonna, if my house is on fire and they come here, I should have to pay $5,000 for them. And if I don't, they're just gonna watch the house burn down. No one thinks that. Everyone is like, no. They should do it. They should, of course, put the fire out for you. That's what we live in as a community. So these countries just take that one step further and say, not only if your house is on fire will they come and help you for free, no questions asked, but also if you're dying, the doctors will also do the same thing.
I don't have an issue. I think healthcare should be provided to anyone, people that can't afford it. But I think that there should be also, you have the right to have better healthcare treatment and better doctors.
Of course, as you can in socialist countries too.
So I have no issue with people.
Some.
I'm saying I don't have an issue with that. If people need help and they can't afford 100%, they should have health care.
Yeah, but then that means we pay for it.
We pay for it now. You know how much we pay when we go into the insurance companies? First of all, the biggest crooks. But when you pay for to go into the facility, and people that don't go in and that don't have money, don't pay. We're paying for all that. Just like why interest rates on credit cards are so high because of all the debt out there. Credit card companies don't lose the money. We end up paying for the ones that pay.
Yeah,
it's a scam.
I feel two ways about it because I hate government interference in the
things. But you need on certain things, Brian.
Yeah,
I know you can't stand it, but
no, I was just going to say we need it.
Right,
in
we
certain
do
things.
need it,
and I hate that we do. But I think if the government interfered, and I don't know how I fully feel on this, but if you go to get a medical procedure done in this country, it can call the insurance can bill up to $200,000 for a random thing, right?
And then they'll accept 70. It's a crock of shit.
But what I'm saying is it's so much more expensive than it actually is worth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just because they can pay that because they have a monopoly on it, because they can do whatever they want, because the free market, we have no choice but to pay the insurance companies, or you just don't get the healthcare. But you're not going to not do that. If you're dying, you're going to get the surgery or whatever, right? So then they're going to charge you $250,000 or whatever, which is insane.
It's unbelievable.
It's the exact same thing with college, the education system on a college level. They charge you so much money that isn't the value of what it actually is, right? Because they can, because no one is saying they can't do it. They can just, because if you want to go to college, they have a monopoly over it. The colleges are the only ones. There's no alternative to it.
Well, there's the state schools, which are much less, but the private organization of these universities is out of control. The endowments, they have billions of dollars in endowments.
But the state school only applies to in your state.
Right.
That price.
Right.
If someone in Georgia wants to go to UF, which is a state school, it's going to cost them $65,000.
Right, but it's a privilege. It's not an absolute right. So then you go to state school in that state that you live. I'm just saying, you still get your four-year degree.
I'm just saying,
doesn't make you worse off.
In those aspects, a little bit of government interference would curb the insurance companies and the education companies, which they are. These schools are just companies, to lower their prices.
They're more like even fucking real estate holdings. I mean, that's really what they are.
Yeah, and banking.
Yeah.
Their endowments are.
The endowments are huge.
But you know what I mean? Certain things would be these prices would come down because they would be regulated. In other countries, I mean, it's just, I guess, American greed why
or
they
is
can
it
charge
capitalism?
so much. Yeah, but I mean, in another school in Europe, everywhere in Europe, in all these different countries, college is a couple grand because it doesn't. I guess because no one would put up with it being so much money, people just would just be I'm not going to go. Right. So the competitiveness, the free market capitalism,
supply and demand.
There's a price that would meet. But I guess in this country we just got brainwashed because the demand isn't the supply and demand doesn't make sense. It might change though
because the expenses are so high and everybody can afford it. Seriously, I think that what we should do is sort of like what Israel does: is you have to go into armed force for 2 years and then you go to university. Because that would
never work in this country. You would want hundreds of millions of people in our military. That would be insane. Imagine our country, Israel. What's the size of Israel? Israel population. Israel's 9.3 million people. We're 339 million. So imagine 9 million. I mean,
how many 18-year-olds are there? Gotta love the fucking internet for these things. It's crazy.
Total population of Israel by age group. Let's see. So there's 739 million 15 to 19-year-olds, and then 681 million 20 to 24-year-olds. So
let's say 600 million.
600.
What do we got in America?
No, not 600 million because it's not 600 million. 600,000. It's got
right.
In thousands. Yeah, 681,000.
All right. What do we have in America?
Total population of teenagers. I mean, I just know it wouldn't work.
I agree with you, but
okay, 42 million.
Yeah, can you manage that
for 600? So I mean, it just would be the money that it would take to fund 42 million new soldiers every year.
Okay, then let me take it a different way.
It would bankrupt our
Let
country.
me take it a different way. Maybe they say you have to work for somebody for 2 years before you go to school.
Sure, that's a different one.
Then it'll weed people out that don't necessarily need college, could do a trade school, or say I'm making the money. I don't want to go to college.
Well, that's a cultural thing that we need to change in this country.
I'm saying that would be I think it would be a great thing.
Our country needs to shift its focus. We need to be no, it's okay for most people not to go to college. And not only is it okay, it's good, but it's such a big business that they brainwashed us.
It's a stigma.
Not only has college in the college industry brainwashed us to be like, you need to go to college. Not even that, because that's part of the education thing. The government has too, because the government makes money on it. Because most people who go to college take out loans, and then they pay those loans with a premium. So the government loves the high cost of college. They make money on it.
Yeah.
So they have no incentive to lower it. They only have an incentive to raise it.
But I think that the prices are going to be so astronomical, which they already are, that I think there'll be a shift.
I would hope so. But I just think that certain things in that would help if the government came in and was like,
and subsidize a little bit.
Yeah, or just regulated it a bit to be like, okay, the insurance company's like, you can't charge that much. Like let's all agree we have, there has to be limits to what you can charge.
It's very expensive. Do you know my insurance for mom and I, when we have no one on our insurance other than Burke, she can't give birth anymore, which is insurance very high when you're younger as a woman. It's gone up. It's the most it's ever been.
And so you're paying so much.
We use it less.
It doesn't cover everything too.
No,
every time you go to the doctor, you're still spending money.
I spend 20%.
Right.
I do an 80-20 PPO.
It just is.
No, it's
just clearly a scam too.
It's a crock of shit.
Because even with my insurance, let's say I something medical, like I have a medical need or whatever. I'm in the hospital now and I have all these surgeries or whatever, and I'm fine now. Even with my insurance that I pay for all the time, it's still costing me plenty of money.
It's going to cost money.
It's still going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe not hundreds of thousands, but like there's no way that the value of it, that's what I'm saying. There's no way the value of it, the actual goods and services is what they're charging.
I think the insurance companies are the biggest crooks.
Yeah.
First of all, they're the largest advertisers. They're spending billions of dollars a year on advertising.
Not insurance. Yeah, I mean,
insurance companies, yes.
Yeah, not health insurance. They're like auto insurance.
Doesn't matter. Still insurance.
Can health insurance advertise?
I don't know, but still insurance companies.
Yeah, definitely.
Billions.
Yeah.
Billions a year.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the biggest businesses in America.
Unbelievable.
Insurance.
So let's go back to the guy with Holdor. So we're outside.
Oh, yeah. And that's how we got on this.
And we're talking. And we spoke both very nicely. We hugged it out. We had fun. And that was it.
It was a very amicable conversation. But
we just
he was just saying, because we got on this because we were talking about the playing field. And then we didn't really go down that conversation. When I say there definitely should be an even playing field, actually, this chessboard is a perfect analogy. There's a chessboard on this table right here it's out of frame. So chess, there's a lot of different pieces. Or is it
in frame? It's just clear. Go ahead.
There's a lot of different pieces in chess, right? And each piece has different powers and attributes. Certain pieces can only move one place. Certain pieces can move all across the board. Certain pieces can only move in a diagonal. They all have set paths that they can take. So they're not equal in the pieces, right? But the board, they all are playing on the same board. But in America, we're not all playing on the same board. That's the different analogy. So no matter, even if we make this is how I think, and then you go like, but the safe spaces and the toxic masculinity, I'm like, I'm not talking about that when I say.
Do I do your voice when I talk about
yes, you do all the time.
I do not.
You do.
Show me one time I've done it. Go back and show the reel.
There's too many.
Okay.
But when I say, we definitely should all be start out on an equal playing field. I'm not saying, the king should not be lowered to the position of a pawn and the pawn raised up to the king. No, because the king on the board, he was born as a king. So, of course, he's going to have a better chance than the pawn.
No,
but the pawn should still be able to win the game, as they can in chess.
Okay,
but in America, it's two different boards that people are playing on.
Okay,
it's 12 different boards.
So, how would even playing field be for you as opposed to some other kid in college? You both are 18 going to college. Tell me about the even playing field.
What do you mean, going to college? Well, even getting to college is an even playing field. I think in America, we have made the playing field a lot more even than it used to be. So I'm not one of these people who's like, America's so unfair, all this stuff. But there are definitely...
Or what about if I say the even playing field, I always use this analogy. So if I choose to work 14 hours a day and work very hard, okay, and I say I'm going to put my kids in the best private school I can, I'm taking you out of that even playing field because I'm making you excel, right, with better education because of my hard work, as opposed to someone who says, I don't have either the economics or I'm only work 9 to 5 because it's not that important to me, but I still want my kid to go to that private school.
No, but that's not right. So I don't agree with that. Right. You're the king in this scenario and they're the pawn. The pawn can only move one space, so it's going to take them a lot longer. But there are also other people that are born pawns just shit out of luck, or because there were things in this country's past, which I know sounds annoying, but there were things in this country's past that pushed people down to pawns and forced them to stay as pawns.
Let's talk about the two aspects, or let's talk about the easier one.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, who on Easter today is making my Easter eggs nice and shiny.
Oh, God, you're such an idiot. Okay, but look, I used it today, and I did my nose and my ears.
What do you use today? The trimmer, the Beard Hedger Pro, or you use
I don't use the beard because I don't have it. I use the regular
because
razor.
you're such a nice dad that you gave it to your son, Bryce. So Bryce,
is that what I did?
Yeah.
Oh, that big one?
Bryce saw you using it. Bryce was like, I want it. You go, okay,
Right.
you can have it.
So I use the regular
Your lawnmower.
which I love.
Yeah.
It's just great, and I had the one for the ears and the nostril.
The ear and nose hair one, which is great. The Weed Whacker. Which
right.
just came out with their new version. I forgot the word first. The term first.
You had a blank. That's
Yeah.
unlike you. But look how clean and nice. And I have nice nose.
And you're using the new one for your nose
Yeah,
and
does
ears.
my nose look good?
It looks great. I need to use it today.
Yeah, I noticed all you boys need to use
Well,
it.
I'm gonna do a full Manscaped today when I get home. And I
Down south too?
Oh, the full thing, because the full thing needs it. Well, I kept it.
I have to do my southern area, but I haven't had a chance.
I didn't Manscape for Iceland because I needed the insulation. Like I was an extra layer. But now that I'm back home, I'm going full Manscaped mode, using my Lawnmower 4.0 on the body, my Beard Hedger on my face, my shampoo and body wash on the body, a little ball deodorant on after, keep it nice and clean, the toner.
I think Brian's going to get Manscaped tattooed on his balls. But if Bronson got Manscaped tattooed on his penis, he would just come out with, it would look like just the letter M. Okay.
I'd be able to write their entire mission statement on mine. How about that?
Real nice, you would. Yeah, like for the little Asian guys that write on the rice kernel. What do they call it?
I'd have to hire a calligrapher.
Yeah. You ever see those guys doing the rice thing? Yeah, started in 1974. Okay,
I got my penis from you, so you're just dissing yourself.
You got it from mom's side.
If you want to make your downstairs look good and
write the mission statement on your balls,
then head over to manscaped.com. You can use the code DaddyIssues20 and you'll get 20% off your entire order and free shipping. So go there, check out all the products we named. They have a lot more that we didn't name because they keep building their suite out. My whole entire bathroom is fucking stocked with Manscaped. They have everything you could need and everything you could want. I even used a lip balm when we were in Iceland.
You did. I saw that.
So once again, go to manscaped.com, use the code DaddyIssues20. You'll get 20% off and free shipping.
Someone just was born in a different situation. They're born, no fault, divorced parents in a trailer. The kid's born. The mother has to work 2 jobs. The kid's sort of raising himself. That kid, how do we get him on an even playing field with you? And if we did get him on an even playing field with you, how would that benefit that kid?
I mean, I think we are on even playing fields now. We've changed a lot in this country.
You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just curious to know, play it out from a scenario.
No, but like there are certain things. I don't know what the answer. What do you mean play it out from a scenario?
I mean, like, if I'm that kid that's born from a divorced household, mother has to work 2 jobs, I'm living in a trailer, my older brother has to raise me, and I'm going to a school in Wisconsin or somewhere, right? Or Detroit, Mississippi. And I'm like, that's not fair. That kid, Bronson, was white privilege and went to private school since kindergarten, and that's not fair. It's not the same playing field. How would you change that playing field? I don't know. Like, do we take that kid and say, okay, great, you can go to Pinecrest? I'm a little confused.
No, well, you don't need to like put them fish out of water. You don't need to instantly one day make them the king on the chessboard. But if you give them on this chessboard, these pawns, there's open paths in front of them, right? The whole board is open to them. They can only move one at a time, or the king can move whenever he wants, but they're not blocked by anything. And that's what.
But why are we blocking? But how?
I don't think we're doing much anymore in this country, but we were 20 years ago.
Okay, but I don't think we're blocking anybody, because you hear stories. You hear stories about people. For example, take the guy Jordan we know. He went to a Florida State school. He's a billionaire. He came from a small town in Jersey. His mother was poor, and he's a self-made billionaire. Now, of course,
right. That's also one out of millions.
He's an anomaly.
Yeah.
But my point is, we do also know that people come over from other countries that don't speak a word of English, and they make it. So yeah. I think the one...
No, I agree with you. And I think America's good at that.
And by the way...
That's one of the good parts of this country.
And I do agree, for example, when you look at these, let's say these black kids that are good kids, you see them working hard and they're like waiting tables or busing, and and they're definitely at a disadvantage. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But how do you... My point is, I don't know how to change that, because you could say there's also white kids that are born that way too, or whatever it might be,
it
or
doesn't
Indian
really,
kids.
yeah, it doesn't have to do with the skin color necessarily.
So I don't know how to change that from people who are just born into a situation, but it just is what it is. We can't change that. Are we gonna for the mothers working 2 jobs? We're gonna say, here's money, so you don't have to work 2 jobs, or
that's gonna make it worse.
Correct.
But I think there's certain way. I mean, and I don't know the answers fully, but there are things that you could do for a person's life in general that make it easier for them to use their own tools to succeed, not giving them shit. I'm saying.
Right. So don't we do that?
Like that's like healthcare is a good example. If that family in the trailer where the mom's working 2 jobs or whatever, and the kid is smart but has no whatever, if the mom, because this country is like the healthcare is so expensive, if that mom gets hurt on a job or whatever, and now can't afford to fix her leg, so now can't work because she literally can't afford to fix her leg because it'll cost her $85,000. If you make that cost $7,000, right, in the first scenario, the current scenario, and she's now out of work, and now the whole family's fucked forever, right? They're just, she's the only mom, now the family's fucked. Now the kid.
But there's people we know locally here that live in these big homes that are over leveraged or whatever, make even $300,000-$400,000 a year. They don't have 10 grand in the bank.
Yeah, but that's
my point.
Let's talk about. You said what could you do? Let's say if it does cost $7,000. So the first scenario, it's $87,000, and now this mom has to retire early because
she's going to get treated. She just won't pay her bills. She's going to get medically
so now
treated.
the son has debt associated.
He's
with
not
his family.
responsible for
the credit, and now the credit score for the family is fucked.
I know, but you understand from a reality standpoint, Bronny, people that live like that anyway are going to have bad credit. They're fucked with hand to mouth. They're always behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, but you don't see that if the leg treatment costs $7,000 instead of $87,000,
they still can't pay the $7,000. I get it.
That they can pay in 3 months instead of 30 years.
No,
she could work. You know what I mean? But you asked me. You said, "What could you do?" That was the first one off my head. That makes it easier for someone to not fall into the abyss.
Okay,
in America,
I get it.
And then now because they can't afford that, now they do take fentanyl, and now they're fucked forever.
Okay, well,
that's the path.
But that's one path, and I can give you 99 other paths from the same exact scenario.
Of course.
So the mother's working 2 jobs.
But we're in a what if.
No.
Situation.
The mother working 2 jobs lives in a trailer. She's trying to do what she can, and I respect that. She's busting her ass.
Okay.
She'll always be behind the 8 ball. That's just the way it is. There's no way that if one little thing goes wrong in the system, whether there's a leak in the trailer or whatever it is, they get injured or they're out of a job. Most people like that live that kind of lifestyle, they're always going to be behind the 8 ball, and they're screwed. That's just a reality.
Right, but then sure, it is definitely. But then, do you not agree that there are ways that can improve their situation?
No.
Or do you think they're just totally fucked forever?
No, that's
because your grandparents. So do you think even if let's say they're super hard workers, do you think they're just always fucked?
No, I think when you live in that situation,
or should they be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps as
behind
you guys
the
say?
8 ball? The unfortunate people are always behind the 8 ball.
Okay, but most people in life are also always behind the 8 ball.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that they're doomed. Being behind the 8 ball doesn't.
I'm not saying they're doomed,
but then do you not see that there are, or do you not agree that there can be ways? So if they're 50 feet behind the 8 ball, we bring them to 40 feet behind the 8 ball, then to 30, then to 20. No, and they're still behind the 8 ball, but they're closer.
I'm talking about take that child of that kind of lifestyle. How do you put that kid, right? Because we have to, based on what we're saying, on the even playing field. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I think they are on an even playing field because we live in America. Because they can do it if they really, really wanted to. It's extremely hard. And there are ways to make it easier. I just gave one example. There are other examples, too, that are ways to make it easier. Like, there could be programs in this town that find smart people and put them in gifted programs in the education system and all that stuff. That's another pathway for this kid. But we're not on different sides of this.
No,
I think America does have a lot.
I'm not arguing. I'm just having a conversation about it.
If you go to Zimbabwe, there's no playing field. The people who have the money, and the people who don't. Listen. And there's no way for the people who don't to become the people who have. America is not that way.
There's opportunity.
We have one of the best playing fields in the world.
Right. So
we're
the most
but
diverse.
That's we still can't get better.
Okay. We're the most diverse country, but yet we're not diverse enough. We are the land of opportunity that anybody really could do what you want if you believe in yourself. Even if you got to take on debt for yourself and whatever it might be, even though it might be expensive, there is due process. There's freedoms in America and the land of opportunity better than any other country out there that exists in this world today. However, it's still never, ever enough. I just saying from realistic
I disagree with the people who are on that side.
Fair enough.
I can have two ways, right? Like I can think, we can make this country better. But I also think this country is the best in the world.
I understand.
Right? But that doesn't mean,
it
is what it is. People are in poverty. It is what it is. We should always strive to make our country the best it can be.
But what I'm saying,
that's a true patriot.
I don't disagree with you because I think that's a nice way to live life, and I would love our.
I'm not saying we can make it all good, but we should strive.
Okay, I'm fine with trying to make things better for our society, but I'm also, maybe because I'm older, a little more tainted, a little more worldly based on my age and my experiences. I'm more of a realist, and the reality is, when people talk about this, and that's why I sort of sometimes get, not to you, but triggered by these topics, these conversations, is because it's just rhetoric, okay? It's when people talk about safe space or toxicity, just hear me out for a minute.
But those are so different.
No, but I'm just giving general things, and I'm going to get, if you just let me, I'm going to pull it all together, okay? Or being bullied, or words hurting people, or the fact that even playing field and things like that, or reparations. They all sound nice in theory because everybody wants to become better and go to sleep at night feeling better about themselves and trying to be the best human being that they can. But it's not, in essence, reality, because we know our government is so corrupt. We know that the money's not going for the people that really need it. We know that these bills being passed are not really, the money being made is corruption. We're not taking care of people from within. The drug issues, and I'm not saying to give up. I'm going to tell you in a minute. The drug issues we have are so powerful and corrupt. We have so many issues that when I look at these things, human trafficking, abuse of these children, the issues with the homeless, drugs, domestic violence, crime, rape. There's so many big issues that people are just, there's just bad, evil people out there. And I think that we need better checks and balances, better consequences, better punishments.
Exactly. So you saying we need better, right? You just said we need better. That's exactly what all the people who are saying those things, they're also saying we need better. So you guys at the core of it, want to, like, everyone agrees we need better. Every single person in this country agrees we have problems, let's make them better. People are approaching it from different ways. But so I can just say what you're saying then. You're just saying that what you're just saying is rhetoric. Everything you just said, we need better, it's just rhetoric. Just to help you sleep at night. But that's what you're doing to them. You're painting an entire side saying they're just saying they want to help, but it doesn't, it's just rhetoric.
Okay. No, because
at least
when
they're saying they want to help.
No, listen, but when you talk about reparations, or you talk about putting somebody in a position where they can't excel at, where you're setting up for failure, or talking about even playing field, which no one really even knows what it is. They just talk about it. All right. It's not a reality. It's just not a reality. There just are people who are going to be in a better position than other people.
Of course.
That's just the way it is. So people need to stop worrying. It's like that whole FOMO, fear of missing out with fucking social media and whatever. Just fucking accept it, your life. If you don't like your life, just make your life better. Don't ask anyone to make it better for you. Don't have a fucking handout with entitlement. I'm not saying you, but I'm talking about people. Don't have a handout with entitlement. If you do something bad, you can have consequences. If you believe in yourself, you take on the fucking debt and have skin in the game. But nobody wants to have skin in the game. They all want the handouts. They want the entitlements, and they want the fucking labels.
Not all.
I'm making a general statement. Of course, not all. That's not. When I say
I know,
all,
but
I mean in general. But people know me by now, and if they don't, then you need to go back.
So
to
why do you give to charity?
Because the reason why Mom and I do is because we feel as human beings, if we're in a position to help those who need help.
But why? They shouldn't take your help. They should do their own. They should help themselves.
No. I'm not saying when we help orphans who are innocent
orphans
victims.
Different.
Okay. Well, when we do that, when we help.
Orphans are different because they literally can't help
let me
themselves.
Finish.
They're little children.
When we help women of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
We do these things because we believe those charities are important to us, that these are victims. And if we're in a position to help victims, that's just the way I've always lived my life.
Right.
We help victims.
That's exactly how
no, it's not, but
a lot of people on the left feel. black people are victims. And wait, I'm not saying I agree with this, but this is how I'm just trying to get you to get like, you got to think in their mindset sometimes. They're not all evil. A lot of people are actually just genuinely trying to make the world better.
I'm not saying they're evil. That's not what I'm saying,
They believe certain people, these people are victims, and so we need to help them. If we have the ability to help them by changing this rule, if we have the ability to help them by affirmative action, and we learned it may not have been the best way, but you don't always know. So if you have an idea and you're like, this is a way to help them, and they're victims.
I'm not making a black issue.
No, I know.
But if it was the on that one black, the topic of, let's say, black people, okay?
Yeah.
I have no problem helping those people that are either victims, just hear me out, and have no ability to help themselves, or
who doesn't have ability to help themselves besides children.
Or people who can also try to have some skin in the game and help themselves too. So I think I don't want to go back to the black thing, but I'm just going to say this. I think, like you said it best, the black thing is more of a cultural aspect, and it's a whole way of life, and I don't think it's going to happen in one generation. It's numerous generations before it changes, and it can change, and I think, but it has to start from within of people who want to change. Like this, I could talk about my diet all day fucking long, right? All day. I just got to bite the fucking bullet and lose weight. Do you know what I'm saying? I could take vitamins, I could do this, it's not going to work. I have to physically eat less or whatever and work out more, and I'll lose weight. I have to have skin in the game.
But also, here's an interesting example to that. You work out hard, you eat well, and you still complain all the time. You're like, but I don't know, I'm trying so hard.
No, because I don't eat as well as I should eat.
Wait. Sure. Okay. So you try, right? You're not perfect because no one is. So you don't have the perfect diet. Let me get through this analogy. You don't have the perfect diet. You don't work out. You're not maximizing your workouts like Hercules, right? But you're trying hard. You work out a lot. You wake up extra early. You work out. You try to eat well. Of course, you're going to slip up. You're human. Everyone makes mistakes. We're going to all agree that. But you're trying hard. And still, at the end of the day, you're like, it's just not going away. I can't fucking lose this weight. I'm trying so hard. Something is inhibiting me from doing this. That is the same kind of case for a lot of people when it comes to like breaking out of poverty or whatever. They're like, I'm trying so hard. I'm doing everything right. Of course, there's some mistake, right? Like I'm going to break my leg. So, or shit, my car broke down. Now I have to spend a little bit of savings that I was trying to buy this house on that, whatever. Of course, everyone's going to make mistakes. That's part of being human. But there's for a lot of people, it feels like there's a ceiling that no matter how hard you literally complain, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I work out so hard and I can't lose my fucking belly. A lot of people feel that way financially. They're like, I try so hard and there's something that's blocking me. And so that's like the even playing field.
I don't disagree. No.
I don't know what that is, what that ceiling is.
I think,
same how like we don't know what it is for your stomach.
Any employer would hire, if the person was from poverty, let's assume, and I don't know what the answer is, I'm just thinking out loud, would want to hire the best person for that job. Whether it's a person from poverty or not. The problem is that there's how do you get that person out of poverty? Easy. I don't know the answer.
But how do you think about now, right back when your grandparents came to America, even your parents, right? Those two generations, anyone could. It was. I mean, not easy. I'm not going to say it was easy.
But everybody were immigrants,
right? But I'm not saying immigrants. You could be in America and you could get a little loan, right? That was easy to pay off. It wasn't like this crazy thing, right? It wasn't like
actually, that's not, Bronson, my parents' mortgage was like a 12%.
I don't mean the home, like for business.
Sure. Business loans were not easy. No, business loans are still hard to get.
But like what I'm saying, so I might not know 100% of this, but how I view back then, which is how like we all kind of view it, is like anyone could start a little business. You could start a cobbler, right? You could become a shoemaker, or you could open a candy store, or you could open up a dry cleaner. Everyone could open up a little business, independent, and you could make enough money to buy a home, put your kids through school, buy a Cadillac, right? You could do those things. Everyone could, not everyone obviously, but like it was very, if you worked hard, if you showed up to work every day, you did all this shit,
People don't show up to work anymore today though.
Right, I know.
It's a different you talk about it. I'm sorry for interrupting. You talk about it. Sorry, go ahead.
But like with that, do you agree that was like a relatively doable goal? The American dream, right? That's where that comes from. And most people did it. A lot of people had no money. They opened up a little business. They worked hard and they did it. Right, a dry cleaner. You can't do that now, right? Don't you agree? You just can't do that now. I can't just go open up a shoe shop because they're all owned by Amazon. Or I can't open up a dry cleaner because they're all owned by Tide.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, you just can't do
Ronnie,
that. So it's a lot harder to make money now than it used to.
It is harder, but there's plenty of money to be made out there. Look how many people we know that make so much money. And Mom and I, look, we just quit our jobs and took the bar, and I hung my shingle and got a little office and dipped in whatever savings I had and started a business. And after 2 years, started making a little money. I know people that I could have not made money.
And it's not easy ever to make money. I'm not saying that, but do you think I think, but I might be wrong. It seems like it's a lot harder to make money now, to buy a house now than it was 100 years ago.
Everything is harder today.
Maybe 50.
There's also more people. There's also more debt. There's more crime. So there's so many factors come into play, and things are more expensive because of supply and demand.
Unevening the playing field.
But uneven the playing field for everybody. Yeah.
Well,
even you.
Totally. Unevening it for everybody except the top, like, couple percent.
Okay, listen, I hear you, but that's just the way it is. I mean,
but that doesn't. No, it is the way it is.
We can't.
But the way it is can change.
Well, the government can lower fucking interest rates, and
or we can say, "Yo, lower the fucking interest rates." Right? That's what I'm saying. And
it doesn't work. It doesn't work exactly that way.
But just saying it is what it is. I use that for a lot, but that's not the way when it comes to government.
I don't think. Okay, but
politics.
I get it, but I wasn't
because those can change every single day. I wasn't
talking more about government politics. I was talking more about the individual living in this world.
Right, but in the 50s, it was the way it was. That most people could afford a home, most people could afford a car, most people could have a nice job.
People still, no, that's not necessarily true. People still rented. There's so many rentals out there that people, even back then. I remember I was like...
People rented back then? Was there even renting?
Yes. No one owned. They're not every owned. All those apartment buildings in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx. Sure. Okay, this is what
I'm talking about, like, suburban homes.
No, but what people did, Bronson, people...
Because that was the backbone of America.
Listen, people literally... 3 people would share one room.
Well, no, I'm talking like when you guys moved to that neighborhood in Tarrytown. That's what I'm talking about. Did anyone rent in those? Like, were those any rentals? I don't think so.
Not the homes, but there were rentals all over. There were garden apartments.
But what I'm saying, like, did anyone rent homes in suburbs back then?
No one rented homes, but they rented apartments.
Yeah, but that's but apartments are always going to be
no. But those are the people who couldn't afford a home, just like today.
But that's the cities. But now in the suburbs,
not even cities.
But now in the suburbs
had
back then they didn't have apartments.
Suburbs. If you look at all these, when you go to Cornelius. All those places are rentals. That's a suburb,
right? No, exactly. Now they weren't 70 years ago.
Let's
talk about Tarrytown, right? Back when you said you were a kid, people rented.
Yes,
no, apartment buildings is different. I'm talking about homes.
No one rented
because home is land.
It wasn't a thing back then.
Exactly.
To rent a home.
That's what I'm saying.
But the difference.
But now how many people do you think rent for?
I know. Listen,
I would say most people rent.
Listen for a second. But in reality, even if you bought a home. Okay, people bought a home. They took a 30-year mortgage at 12%. They used to keep the home for 30 years, and they do these mortgage parties,
and they would stay in that home forever.
But it was still
now one moves home every 5 years.
But if you're financing 90% and at 12 whatever, you're technically renting when you break it down.
Yeah, but you own it at the end of the day.
There's a lot more money to be made today than there was when my parents were around. The money being made today is astronomical.
There's a lot more money to be made, but it's a lot harder to make it, I think.
Okay, but no risk, no reward. That's just the way people.
No, I'm not saying we should give. But I'm not saying we should give out the money.
No, that's the world we live in.
It's not one or the other. It's not. I can say it's a lot. Like it's a lot more. It's a lot harder to make money now, but there's also more money to be made.
But
both of those exist.
But here's the thing: when, for example,
doesn't mean we should give it all away.
Here's a perfect example: the way our fat, lazy ass societies become. Forget about the entitlement. Forget about the workforce being fucking pathetic. Forget about the fact that people always want days off, or that's all they care about. Forget about the fact that nobody wants to work. When we grew up, our parents commuted an hour and a half each way for their job. Because if they wanted home, it was less money. So they went an hour and a half outside each way. Today, I'm going to drive 30 minutes.
Nah, that's just the circle we live in. No, because remember we read that article a couple months ago that said like now Homestead is having a housing crisis because all these Miami workers are living an hour and a half away out in Homestead, and the city doesn't know what to do because all these commuters are leaving every day, and so they have all these homes that people are buying, but then there's no economy there because everyone's leaving into the city. That's only in the circles we run in.
So if
the majority is not the case, I don't think.
If we go ahead and if I help you and your brothers with your living arrangements and things like that, I'm not creating an even playing field for the other people that can't, right? Like when we decided when your rent was going to go up and we saw the way that Miami was going, we said, let's buy a place. You'll pay a certain flat amount and I'll subsidize the difference, right? That's what we did. Like a lot of parents who could afford to do that. So that's not even playing field.
It's not unevening it. No.
It is uneven.
No, then we have different definitions of what the playing field is.
Because there's the kid who wants to rent that same thing that can't because the landlord's raising to $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
So that's not even playing field because you wouldn't be able to do that. No, you'd have to move back home. You couldn't afford where you are.
Right. But my life and that person's life are not equal. No, financially.
But even playing field means
then it's not what I
both
mean.
you kids in your 20s, okay, you could be able to afford to live in that building because mom and I subsidize. And that's not a negative. I'm all in favor of that.
Right, but that's not even playing field.
Oh no, that's how I look at it.
How do you look at it? What's an even playing field to you then?
Meaning that each person should be able to start and what they were at the same level, and how they excel is up to that person.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right. So I'm saying that
that's what this situation is right now.
No, but not
that person. Not technically are in the same position.
No, you're not because you're in a greater position because of mom and I, not because of you.
But so you're on the playing field with me. You're a player.
No, but that's the difference. See, like the nepotism babies and this and that, all these things that come out. No, even playing field is saying, okay, listen, we take that kid from the inner city should have the same exact right to go to Pinecrest as you did as a kindergarten.
And they do have that same right. They can apply just like anyone else can.
But it's just not fair. It's not the reality of it.
What's not the reality?
They're not going to get in.
Why?
They're not going to be able to handle it the same
I got
way.
in.
No, but when we even talked about it, but
the environment. Why can't they get in? Tell me.
Because it's
everyone takes the same test.
But because they're not going to allow everybody in financial aid.
Okay.
They have a very small percentage on financial aid. They have a certain criteria of what they're looking for. They have a certain criteria, and even though they might take the same test, they know who might excel better than others in certain environments. That's just there's a whole big thing behind it.
Okay.
So that those kids might not excel or do as well, or might not be financially able to afford it.
Okay, but that's not the playing field aspect. Is it's the same test? We both took the same test. That's the even playing field.
So they can get in and you can get them, but they don't go because they can't afford it. That's not even playing field.
It is. It is.
Then we're saying slightly different things.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
That's what I view as even playing field is we both have the opportunity to go to that school equally.
No, because it's different.
I happen to have a leg up, just like the king has a leg up on the pawn. But this piece, that square of Pinecrest,
the rook
can still get there. Right, like this here.
Yeah, the board.
We both can still get to that score on the board. Obviously, it's going to be easier for me to go. I'm the king. I can move around any pieces I want.
Okay.
But the pawn can get there.
Nah,
it's just not as easy.
Different definition of even playing field. Because, for example, the kid, because we've had these arguments before, discussion before, where I'm saying I don't agree that a kid who is a minority should get in, let's say, a top private college just because he's a minority. Hear me out. Or you give that kid financial aid or not even financial scholarship because for whatever reason, and you take it away from someone who could, and you say, hear me out.
But there's so many layers to that. Like
there are so many layers. I know there are. I
disagree with you, but I believe that let's say if we took two people, one was me, right? I could pay my full way through school. I could get in because I had the tutoring, all that, whatever. And there was another kid who was 30 times better than me in terms of academics or whatever, right? Like just so much better of an applicant.
Just academics, but there's a total package there.
Right. Okay. So let's say just total
personality, excelling, the stuff they've done before. What did they contribute to society? What do you think what they're gonna do with their future? Because I know plenty of fucking people that are great academics and they're fucking professors.
Okay.
A lot of people graduate Ivy League schools. Great, they're fucking graduate Ivy League.
So let's boil it down then. Let's make it a simpler.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Is a difference.
Sure, but let's make it simpler then.
When I interview someone for an employee, I don't care just about their fucking grades or school. I look at the total about how do they handle themselves, how do they sit, how do they shake my hand, do they send me a thank you, do they send me an email, follow up, do they call me in the spot, do they come in early, all these things. Do they research my firm? All that shit comes into play when I interview someone.
So let's make it simpler then. When I said they're 30% better in me academics, let's say 30% better in all the aspects, okay? Every single one of those. Mm-hmm. Better in every way, Okay.
Then they shouldn't get into that school over you.
Let's say they can't pay at all for this because of the situation they were born into. They were that trailer park kid that we were talking about.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
They should have the position over me and the school. It's great if this is a way where we can bring people out, right? That the school, if that kid can't afford and the school has the money to send that kid through, they should send that kid through. And then that person has changed the generational wealth and the generational success in that whole family's lineage is now changed directly because that person has this spot.
Okay, now
so wait, do you think, let's do the two. That person
I hear you.
Can't afford to go to school, but is 30 times better. I can't afford to go to the school and I'm 30 times worse. Who should have the position?
Okay.
One seat.
I'm gonna tell you about that. The kid who's 30 times better should go to the school over you. The only difference I feel is that person should not be given a free ride. I think they believe in themselves, they're going to excel. They should
take out
student loans. Okay.
Crippling debt.
No, why is it crippling debt? Listen,
it is.
Bronson, fucking people fucking took out student loans and they fucking schemed to do it.
After like 25 years, they
So
pay
what?
off.
Crippling. So what? It's like a home. You take a 30-year mortgage. You fucking pay it off. So what? That's the deal. You believe in yourself. You want to own a home. Some people.
But it's a bad deal.
Let me finish. No, it's not. It's
100%
No,
is.
you have to have fucking skin in the game. Let me talk about a home. Some people to this day say
you don't fully agree with
that. Listen. Some people to this day say, I think it's stupid owning a home with a mortgage. Rent, you write one check, if something breaks, you don't have to worry about it. A home is even though it's an asset, you got to replace things, you got to maintain it. It's a money pit. But that's a choice. If you want to go to that school that costs $100,000 a year instead of going to the state school that might cost $8,000 a year because you want that better school, and you're going to get in, I'm all in favor that based on merit, the better student should go. But if you don't have the money to go, then the reality should be is you take financial aid. There should be no free rides.
We shouldn't help. That's what your charity does. We shouldn't help that person. Like, here's another good analogy. You say always, you use this affirmative action thing with medicine more than other ones, which is makes it a little unfair. But let's take that analogy where you say, don't you want the best doctor treating you possible? And I'm like, of course I do. Everyone does. No one would want a worse person cutting them up. So let's say that kid who was 30% better than me, 30 times better, is the best doctor.
I get it, Bronson. I understand what you're saying.
Will be the best. Yeah, but they might not. So let me finish.
Okay.
Will be the best doctor in the whole world. Better than anyone you could ever dream of. But if they didn't, let's say for whatever reason, they wouldn't be able to take out the loan, whatever. They would never have made it to medical school without a scholarship or a grant or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're saying, yeah, fuck that person. Or do you? If we prop up the best people in our country, it helps everyone. You will now have the best doctor in the world because
Bronson,
you gave that little scholarship.
Bronson,
in the
it's not a little
like,
scholarship.
It's almost
You're
an
saying
investment.
Free ride. No.
It is.
No.
That to a $13 billion endowment thing.
Let me explain this.
One
Let's talk
person's
about the
scholarship
investment.
is a little.
Let me explain this. People must have skin in the game. One thing we know is when you have skin in the game.
I don't have any skin in the game in my college.
Listen. We're talking about if you we expect had certain expectations, we raise you a certain way,
okay,
and we have expectations of you.
But that's not skin. That's not my skin in the game,
Bronson. So I'm your endowment because I bust my ass. I chose because I'm taking care of my
you
child.
You gave me a scholarship.
I'm taking care of my child.
In this scenario, you were the scholarship.
The only
for me.
way I would agree with it, I think that anyone that wants to believe,
I had no skin in the game in our scholarship deal.
Okay, then let's change that. Let's have it where you're gonna have do it that way.
No, but that's what you're saying.
That's my choice as a fucking to my son.
Right.
That's
can't
as
this
a
college
parent.
have the choice?
No, but the point
is their money.
So it's not their money. It's all our money because we're still paying full ride, and we know the educations cost $100,000 a year. We're paying full fucking ride. So to me is why should I get penalized and my son not get some sort of financial scholarship?
Because that's what they chose.
Listen, let me finish. There's no rate of unless that person can prove there's a rate of return on the investment. We don't know. I know so many people. My friend's brother went to fucking Harvard. He's a fucking pothead. He's now 6 years old. He's mounted to nothing.
Okay.
So my point is that guy got a free ride.
That's one person.
No, but my point is, there's just because they're good in the merits and they're good in the academics doesn't mean they can excel. Doesn't mean they can become the best doctor. So therefore, maybe do some sort of sliding scale. If they produce or whatever it is, or they have certain criteria they meet, then it can maybe be forgiven. But to give forgiven at the beginning when they have no skin in the game, people don't work as hard when there's no skin in the game. I don't believe in the free rides for anything. I don't believe in it. So just like with you kids, I say don't do drugs, don't drink, don't get in trouble. I have certain expectations. That's what I do for you, and I expect you to do the same for your kids. If you were not good kids and didn't meet those expectations, I wouldn't be giving you those things, Mom and I.
Right, but what if this 30 times person is a good kid? And
okay, then that motherfucker better believe himself. And if he thinks he's that great to slice bread.
I was just given the scholarship. I don't believe in myself.
You're my child. The school is not there to be for the child. It's still a business. I don't listen. I think
as a society we should prop up our best.
The school, by the way, Bronson, by the way, the schools do give financial scholarships, so they do that,
right? Which I agree with.
However,
you're the one that's saying
however, they can do that technically. There's so many people smarter than you. They could have filled your school with people that's smarter than you, but they look at the totality of it. So they're not just looking for everybody they look for a general thing, many aspects, many facets of that person who's going to be successful in life. I didn't go to fucking top school. I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I'm successful. I give back to the community, raise a nice family, I have a nice marriage. I help people in my business. It's a general thing. It's not just the one little minutia a brilliant guy who's coding all day long.
And that's why in this simplistic scenario, I said someone who's better in every aspect. I'm using the best in every aspect.
Okay, so that
because of course you can give
that
what
person.
If this, but what if this?
That
what if
person
this, of course.
is going to get a scholarship, which they currently do now.
And I think that's good. Do you? I don't. You seem to think that that's bad.
No,
that
I don't.
Shouldn't be given.
I don't think. I don't have problems with scholarships, but
my scholarship that I got to UM, should I not take that? That's a handout.
But I don't think there should be a free ride 100% to everybody. Okay, that's just my opinion.
Okay, but okay, fine. So no free ride scholarship, but big scholarships. You're fine with? I don't understand the.
I never oppose scholarships.
Also, scholarships always have. You said you have to have skin in the game. I expected that you wouldn't do drugs. I expected that you wouldn't do this. All scholarships, they expect you to have not get into trouble, have a certain GPA, all that stuff. It's not
I never said that's not what this conversation started with. I never said I have an issue with scholarships. I'm saying that you're saying, why should that person take financial aid? I go, why shouldn't they if they believe in themselves? Just like a mortgage.
Sure.
It's
owning a home. Aid is so expensive.
Owning a home, it's not that expensive. The interest rate is so low.
No, but
they do it over so many years.
The cost of school is so expensive.
But then go to a state school. That's what I'm saying. It's like someone says, this is an analogy. You want a car? Drive a fucking Kia. You know what to buy you a Mercedes? Get a fucking Kia. If you can't afford it, you drive a Kia, not a Mercedes. You can't afford a private school, you go to a state school. It's that simple. And if you're going to excel, you're going to excel no matter what, whatever school you went to.
Not true. But
okay, it is true. Because the school doesn't mean you're 100% successful.
Agreed.
Period.
Definitely.
So if you graduate a 4-year school
you
work hard.
I'm not even saying Harvard versus FU. I'm just saying college versus not college.
No, but
because a lot of people won't even be able to
can go to college. Anybody can go to college.
Yeah, it's a lot harder for someone else. It was a lot easier for me than someone else.
Okay.
Because I got tutored for the SAT.
So what? There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there is nothing wrong with that.
By the way,
there's nothing wrong with that.
By the way, if you can't get into, you didn't get tutoring and you're not as smart, then guess what? You go to a community college. If you're not as smart to get into a better school, that means you're not as smart to get into a better school.
But we're also forgetting, like, a lot of people can't go to college because they don't have the freedom to. Like, they don't have the time.
Okay, but that's the world.
Because they live in that trailer.
Work. But that's the world.
What if that person was going to be the best doctor ever?
Okay, then it's
we fucked up.
What about the best singer out there that we missed?
What if that person was going to cure
cancer? We didn't
fuck
up. That's the world we live in. That happens all the time.
Shouldn't we try to be like? But shouldn't we try, or should we just be like, nah?
How can you try it? So we're gonna say you're not gonna ever have to work again.
What?
How do you? That person has to work. If that person has to work to live to feed themselves, they might not be able to go to college at that time.
But if we can make our country better in little,
you can never alleviate that issue. You can never leave. The person has to work 2 jobs.
I agree. You can never alleviate that issue 100%. But do you think that poverty has gotten worse?
I have no idea.
Do you think that homelessness has gotten worse?
Yes.
So that means it can get better. If it's gotten worse, that means that it's on a scale. Right? Because if it's gotten worse, that means at one point it was.
I don't know if it can get better.
Okay.
I don't know if homeless can get better.
Do you believe that homelessness has been better than it is now? Like less?
I don't know about that. I have no idea.
Do you believe that they're more homeless now?
Yes.
So that means there used to be less homeless.
Correct.
So that means the amount of homelessness can change.
Anything can change.
Right. So that means that doesn't mean it's a fact that we can never alleviate these problems.
Let's just talk about in general terms about the reality. Not theory. If a child is not as smart to get into the better private institution, then he's not as smart to get in the private institution.
Of course.
Period. So let's not escalate him up and dumb down people.
Well, yeah,
they can't get it.
I'm 100% on board with you. That's why I used the 30 times.
If the person still is not that smart but wants to go to college, they can go to community college, and after 2 years they can transfer into a 4-year college. So they can still get the college degree. Yeah. That's a given.
Also, college doesn't even have to. They could just go start a business and be a plumber
or
and
trade
make good
school,
money.
whatever. Correct, right.
Of course.
Now, if somebody wants to go to the better school because they can get into it, but they don't have the financial ability to, and let's say they're not getting scholarship, whatever it is, they can get financial aid. Those loans are over many, many, many more years, okay, so you can afford it, and also at a very low interest rate. So if you believe in yourself, you take that debt.
Yeah, sure.
Just like
I just don't think it should be that expensive.
Well,
that's the core of it.
All right, I don't disagree.
And that's just my personal thing. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong.
I agree with you.
I just don't think it should be that expensive.
College is a ripoff. 100%. I agree.
That's all.
So for someone paying it for my kids, it's a fucking ripoff. I think a lot of things are too expensive. Period. I think the real estate market is out of control. It shouldn't be that expensive. Cars shouldn't be that expensive. Fucking Kias are $35,000. Hondas are $40,000. Hondas were $15,000 when we grew up. You know what I'm saying? Things are out.
Also,
I know
inflation,
but things are out of control. So, but I'm just saying, if you believe in yourself, America is a land of opportunity. But you have it. When you believe in yourself, that means you have skin in the game and you take on the debt. Just like when Mom and I quit, we quit our jobs and moved to Florida. We took a risk. Could have went either way, but there is no substitute for hard work, perseverance, and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself means you're taking on the risk. That's all I'm saying.
And I think everyone would agree with you.
That's all I'm saying. So, and is it harder for other people as opposed to some? 110%. Is it unfair? Absolutely. That's just the way it is. There's plenty of people, for example.
It's the way it is today.
But there's plenty of people
It doesn't have to be the way it is in 30 years.
Who could have been the best athlete in the world, goes to college, going to play pro ball, last game in college has a $30 million contract, gets hit and breaks his leg and never could play pro ball. That's just the way life is. Not everything is fair. Even when I told you all three of my kids, same way.
No one wants to make life. I mean, everyone would acknowledge. I would hope everyone who has a little bit of intellect would acknowledge that we can't make everything fair. That's just life.
Yeah,
but we could strive towards making things fairer.
Fair enough. But for me, like my priorities, like when we say voting, there's like three things that are important to me. I think that to me, more important than this whole woke thing is I think that I'm more worried about safety, homeless, our children. I believe in educating that generation better. But all right, let's move on. We're saying the same thing.
Well, you can wrap up. We're like an hour 10 now.
What about follow?
Do you want to do a follow advice?
Yeah, let's do one follow advice, and then we'll go. But I think it's a nice approach you're saying to we can make things better and strive towards it. I'm not opposed to that, and I do support that. But there's a reality component as well, and there's an implementation of it. That makes sense.
Okay, let's see.
Are we still getting new ones coming in?
Well,
it's later.
A lot. Okay, let's see. This is from Lauren. It says, "Hi guys, love the show."
Thank you.
It's I'm struggling with someone I've been friends with for a couple years. We got really close this past year, and I considered her one of my closest friends. I just got out of a 9-year relationship a couple months ago, and I've been struggling with that. We hung out a lot since the breakup, but I haven't seen her much in the past month or so, and I started to wonder if I did something wrong. She always tells me how busy she is, and I can't seem to make even weeks out plans with her lately. We share locations, and I see her hanging out with other people in our friend group, and even my ex. Her husband and my ex are childhood friends. When I asked her why she never makes time for me but can for others, she said, well, every time we hung out, you always talked about your ex. It hasn't even been 6 months since he dumped me. I thought a good friend would allow me to go to them and talk about what I'm going through. My life has completely changed. I had to move back in with my parents as I lived with him, and we have a lot of the same friends, so I unfortunately see him from time to time, just not sure what to do. Is this someone I should stay being friends with? Thoughts? I mean, that doesn't seem like if someone's not being a good friend, then they're just not being a good friend. That is like it's like in a relationship, you don't want to be in a relationship where you're trying to convince the person to like you all the time. You know, if the person doesn't like you, then they just don't like you. It is what it is. You got to move on from the relationship. Like if you're friends with someone and they don't want to hang out with you, then they don't want to hang out with you.
It takes two to tango is what you're saying.
That's just it. Why would you want to hang out with someone that doesn't want to hang out with you? That's just
because she's hurt, and I get it.
But that's my advice: is if someone doesn't want to hang out with you, then you don't want to hang out with them.
You know, look, I agree. And Lauren, I know it's not easy, and you're feeling that she abandoned you and not there when you need her, and your life is a little bit an upside down right now, and it will get better, I promise you. I agree with Bronson. You know, it's unfortunate in a relationship. It takes two people, whether it's friends or a spouse or a significant other. It takes two in a relationship. And if you've reached out to that person and she told you this, and you see her socializing and not including you, and you feel you made a significantly stronger effort toward trying to maintain the relationship she did, I know it sucks, but I would just sort of move on. And you got to remember this too, Lauren. Relationships, friendships. In friendships, there are sometimes you can have a long-lasting friendship with someone for 30, 40, 50 years. They could be a childhood friendship for that period. But there are just some friendships that just have run its course, and certain times in your life that come within those parameters. And you don't need to question why it is. It just is what it is. And I think as you get older,
and you don't need to force those friendships to linger if they're past expiration.
But she has the loss of her ex with the relationship and now losing her closest friend. Yeah. So there's that void. So
so just rely on, like, see what other friends are in your life, you know? Like, if you reach out to other friends and they're wanting to hang out with you, then you know, like, you see who is in your corner.
Right. I think you need to just try to understand objectively that sometimes friendships are just that in that time frame in your life for whatever reason. And sometimes it could not be you, and people just move on. Sometimes things change. For example, you might be, I don't know how old you are. Let's assume you were married, and you don't have kids, and your friend now has kids. Their life may change. They might start hanging out with people with kids. Sometimes just things just happen. So I wouldn't question too much. I would just try to say, look, you made your effort. It sucks. It's unfortunate, and move on with your life and develop new friendships, new stories, new experiences, new memories. And for what you had with this other person, who knows what the future will hold for you, but just accept it for what it is. You had nice memories, and just for whatever reason fizzled out. It's not due to you, not due to her. It just sometimes relationships just move on.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. I don't know if
that
helps you.
Come and go too, like,
right. I don't know if that helps you, but I think that's just the reality. And don't give so much weight to the fact that you were best friends and now it's ended. I know women handle a little bit differently than guys do, Bronson, because sometimes I talk to mom about that, or when men are much more matter of fact about it. But I wouldn't stress too much about it if possible.
Yeah.
All right. Hope we helped you, Ronnie. Love you.
Love you too.
Take care, everybody.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.